We are heading into the weekend together on MLB Central. Thanks so much for spending your time with us. Lauren Shahadi, Mark DeRosa, Robert Flores. What do we have on the agenda for the weekend? Can I guess what you're doing? D-Row, a little cucumber juice, celery juice.
Hey, celery juice started to do that today. I got to be honest. Every day seems like a weekend right now. A lot of hanging out in sweatpants, a lot of working out, maybe another TikTok dance. That might be the end of that though. One was enough, Roflo.
One and done. Robert, the recliner and MLB The Show, little wrestling action. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely feel you, Mark, on not knowing which day it is. I mean, it is no one knows what day it is, but of course we are heading into the weekend. And one of the things that I will definitely be doing is watching WrestleMania 36 on the WWE Network on both Saturday and Sunday. It's a special two-night event. Let's bring in former WWE champion Triple H. He's currently the executive vice president of global talent strategy and development. Triple H, thanks for joining us, man. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm great. How are you guys all doing? Everybody staying safe?
Yeah, we're doing our best. Now, obviously, WrestleMania 36 was set to be at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Obviously, that's not going to be the case. What can you tell us about the decision to go forward with this event? It's going to be held at the Performance Center there in Orlando, of course, in an empty arena. Just walk us through kind of the decision of ultimately going down this road.
Well, it's funny I think if everybody was to look back just a few weeks ago, nobody could envision the place that we're in right now. We were headed to the Performance Center to do an NXT event on the 11th of March. We had set up there. We had fans in attendance. On the 10th, as I was headed down there to do that show on the 11th, I called Vince and said, just on the off chance that everything continues to escalate where it's all going, maybe I should leave all this stuff up when we get done tomorrow. And he was like, you know what, maybe that's a good idea. Let's just see where it all plays out. Within 24 hours, by the end of Wednesday night, our trucks were turning around on their way to Detroit and headed down to Florida to the Performance Center because everything was shutting down. And, and then here we are. The decision to move on ahead with WrestleMania was really based on a decision with WWE to continue to do what we do, which is what we believe our job is and our mission is to put smiles on people's faces. We're an entertainment company. We in this time with everything that everybody is going through, probably now more than ever, people need to be entertained and just have an escape, have something that they can do. Us being able to continue WrestleMania while not in a stadium, while not in front of 80,000 people, while not the spectacle that it will normally be, we've been able to change it up, turn it into a spectacle in and of itself. It'll be over 2 days, and it'll be quite something. And hopefully people can tune in and forget about going on and just be entertained,
Yeah, sweet escape, if you will. I love what you said there. The superstars have already experienced Triple H empty arenas, and the fans are always such an integral part of the electricity. So what are they saying about no fans in the stands?
Yeah. Well, it's certainly a huge challenge for them. When you do what we do, it's a very physical business. That adrenaline of having 80,000 people there certainly spur you on to do things that you normally couldn't do. And we're a very interactive product, probably the most interactive product that there is. I don't think there's any other sort of fan interactive product like ours, where if you're performing and something is not going the way you want it to be, the reaction is different than you expected. You can shift your performance to make it different and get the reaction that you're looking for, or go along with where they're reacting. You don't have that in this environment. So it's been unique for our talent to have to get that adrenaline out of themselves, to have to take that performance among themselves and try to get that out of themselves and put on a performance in the biggest way they can without that reaction. But they've done a spectacular job. They've all stepped up. I think they feel like we do as a company, not only our performers, but our staff, our crew, that this is what we are doing is very important and imperative, that we're giving people an escape in the time when they really need it. And I think they've used that to fuel themselves to put on performances that maybe in any other circumstance would have been tough to do.
You know, it's funny, Triple H playing in the big leagues for 15 years, right before you'd run out on the field, like before the pitcher would turn, say, you boys ready to go, it would be that most nerve-wracking time. And you'd be like, all right, be great today, or everyone stay healthy, or put on a show for the fans, and then you take the field. I can't imagine what these guys are going to have to go through running out into potentially empty stadiums. What did you tell yourself before the curtains were drawn and you were getting ready to take the stage in WrestleManias?
You know, I used to do a couple of things and get inside of my own head of the performance and try to, while there's a spectacle and a grandeur and you feel the weight of what that is, the performance is still the same. So don't get yourself caught up in there's 80,000 people. Doesn't matter if there's 80 or 80,000, right? That you're still putting on the performance. What you're doing is still the same. So to be in that. And then it's funny, in my entrance, I used to stand on top of the stage with a light on me. And I used to take time where I would slowly look up at the arena. How that came to be in my entrance was I was trained by a great, from the past, Killer Kowalski, one of the first kind of globally recognized performers. And he used to say to me when I was very first training, he used to say, right when you walk out through the curtain, take a moment to stop and always think about where you're at and acknowledge it. So the first time you work in a bigger arena, the first time you step into Madison Square Garden, take that moment to acknowledge where you are, then go into your performance. And I did it every single time. So I have very distinct memories of almost every WrestleMania of me standing at that spot in the arena, looking out over that stadium before I went for that performance. And it was kind of always the excitement factor, but also the stabilizing factor for me of not only acknowledging where I was in the spectacle of the moment, but also the stabilizing moment of this is like every other performance I've ever done, and go out there and just do what you do, you know?
Hey, and Lauren and D-Row, if you're not aware, Triple H is part of his entrance.
Sorry, guys.
And Triple H is part of his entrance.
I'm having a mastiff moment here.
He, as part of his entrance, he does this great thing with the water where he spits it up in the air and then out through his mouth. I've done it. I've tried to do it numerous times. It ends up just failing miserably every time. So you'll have to give me some tips on how to do that successfully.
It is one of those things that I've had more people come to me over the years to ask me, how do you possibly do the water thing?
Yes.
And they can't figure it out. To be honest, I just did it. And it started out as a defiant thing in my career where I was just kind of spitting the water at fans in defiance, and it morphed into a big part of my entrance. But the amount of people that have come to me and can't figure that out, to me, is mind-blowing, because to me it's I don't know, I just did it and it just happened that way. So I can try to explain it to you, but I had to explain this a couple of years ago. Steph, my wife, we were performing at WrestleMania together. It was a very cool moment. First time we got to perform in ring together against Ronda Rousey in her first match ever in WWE at WrestleMania, and Kurt Angle. And as we were getting ready for it in the days, we were talking about the entrance, and Steph was like, "Oh my God, I got to do the water thing with you. How do I do that?" And I had to explain it to her, and it never dawned on me before. Like, how does she not know how to do this? She's watched me do this for 20 years, and it took us a while for her to be able to get it. It's a funny thing when you just do something, and for everybody else, they can't figure it out. But
Robert wants to know how you do the water thing. I want to know how we can get our hands on a championship belt that Josh Reddick and all the baseball players are holding up, and how'd that start, Triple H?
So, for us, the championship belt is obviously in WWE symbolizes that you're the best. The company is putting its kind of its weight behind you and relying on you to carry things. So it really is the symbol of excellence for us in our business. We started doing things where, as champions, there were so many fans in other sports of what we do, and that were, I guess, sort of living vicariously through our stars, and kind of, we noticed they were starting to have their own championships and different things. And, you can win the Stanley Cups, hard to carry it around and show it off. You win the in any sport, a championship belt is just, there's something cool about it and something that you can show off in a different manner. So we started gifting them to our champions of various sports leagues. And it very quickly, like the first time we did it, man, we just got, bombarded with, can we get another one? All the guys in the team wanted it, become the favorite thing. And they were all wanting to take it home for a weekend, and then somebody else would take it home. And it became a very meaningful thing. So now when we start to get into the championship series, whether it's before the Super Bowl or the World Series or whatever, the teams that are getting close are already reaching out to us to say, hey, just want to make sure you have all the logos you need to put our championship plates on the side of that WWE title so we can have it as soon as we win the World Series. We want that title in our hands. And it's become a huge thing. And you see it, Super Bowl champions, when they're having their parade, it's one of the most prominent things you see, and same with the World Series and everything else. It's an honor for us, and the players love it.
All right. While everybody's social distancing, I'm a guy who likes to work out, Triple H, all right? And I know you're training with my high school football teammate, Joe DeFranco. So while I'm home, I feel like I'm plateauing. I know you're not lifting like you did back in the 80s. Is there something, can you give me a tip, or the fans that are watching this, something I can do to kind of change my workout routine up just a little bit?
It's a funny thing for me. The workouts have become such an important part of my life that if I feel like I don't do them, I'm lost. It's like my anchor. But in these times, I feel, especially like when you're training alone, my wife has actually been training on these video chats with Joe. She calls him up and she puts him on the iPad and he trains her virtually. But I don't know. I'm a big believer in just trying something different. I think sometimes people get so caught up in the well, you have to train this way. This is the most scientifically accurate way to train and the most meaningful. Like, just go work out, right? So try something different. Try just training with kettlebells for a week. Try doing full body workouts. Try supersetting everything in your body and going 3 times through. Like, just
are you doing cardio?
I do some cardio, but I tend to try more often. Cardio to me is, unless I'm watching something work-wise or something else while I'm doing it, it's mind-numbingly boring to me. My wife can get on a treadmill and do an hour or 2 hours or whatever. That doesn't bother her. For me, I'll lose my mind. So for me, I would rather box or do something like that, or I'll just do a series of exercises and just say, okay, I got 15 minutes on the clock and I'm going to do these exercises one right after. I'm going to do 10 of each one. I'm just going to keep doing them one right after each other for 15 straight minutes and only stop if I absolutely have to. And, just blow yourself up in that manner, cardio wise. I don't know. To me, if you make training fun, I remember reading, when, I was a big Arnold fan when I was coming into it, and Arnold used to say they used to have these moments in time where all the guys at his gym would pack up a pickup truck and drive out into the countryside, and they'd throw out a bunch of weights and they'd just do squats in the hillside all day long, and just as a group, and just keep doing it and doing it and doing it, and just have these things where you couldn't walk for days afterwards. And that's always stuck with me, of like,
change it
those
up.
Shocking things and moments where you just do something crazy and different. Like, just challenge yourself to do something different. Make it fun. It doesn't have to be a routine thing where you're just like, all right, I got to go in there and do 5 of these and then 10 of those. And man, just go in there and do some stuff and make it fun and make it working out enjoyable. I love bringing, every now and then when I can talk them into it, my kids will go down there and they love to work out with us. And, even doing stuff with them, they just make it challenging and have fun. And I'll get just as good of workout training with them, because I'll make them do different things that I would never do. And the next day I'm sore from it,
Well,
Robert, we're going to be squatting on a mountainside.
I like that idea. Absolutely.
Yeah. And from a social distancing standpoint, it works out great. You can squat by yourself on the side of a mountain. No one, you know what I mean? There's not anybody around. So it's great.
Well, Triple H, we appreciate the time. Once again, we want to remind people, WrestleMania 36 streaming 2 nights, Saturday and Sunday on WWE Network. And Triple H, Carlos Pena and I, we took a trip several weeks ago to the Performance Center there in Orlando and got a chance to meet with the trainers and coaches, and also some other superstars, including some superstars that are on the way up. So you have a fantastic operation out there. I'm sure it'll make for a great setting for WrestleMania 36. Thanks for joining us. And
Robert, I heard you have a mean hurricanrana. It's just the rumor going around now.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Triple H, and also a super kick. Now, my super kick's a little bit different because it lands at about the midsection. I can't quite get to the face of my opponent.
It's not as super. Yeah,
Yes.
it's not quite as super. Almost super. Still a kick. Yes.
I would say it's not a super kick. It's an okay kick. That's probably
hey, sometimes those lower kicks hurt more.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for the time, and have a great weekend, and good luck with WrestleMania 36.
Thank you very much. Hopefully everybody will enjoy and can take their mind off of all this, get a smile on their face, and thank you for the time. You guys all stay safe.
You too.